What does dig this mean?
Sure. Well, Digg essentially started off as a way for people to promote the news that they care about. So if you're on the web and you find a story and you see one of those little buttons that says Dig This, when you click it, you will be taken to a form where you can say, okay, I want to give this a title and description. This is an article or something that I read that is really interesting to me, and I want to share it with others. Once you give it a title and description and assign it a category, say politics or entertainment news, you submit it to the site. It doesn't go on the front page for everyone to see. It goes in this kind of upcoming area, and thousands and thousands of people go in there looking for great articles and stories. If they see your story and they dig it, they're adding one to the overall count, the number of digs on that story. So if the second person digs it, it'll have 2 digs. If the third person, 3. Once enough people dig it, our algorithm is scanning through these stories, and if it finds gems like stories that are up and coming that have enough votes on them, it puts them in front of on the homepage for everyone to see. So it's a completely community-driven website in that there's millions of people that come there and organize that front page. It's not done by any one editor.
So the way it gets to other people's eyeballs is just people who know about Digg.com and go there to see what's hot on Digg right now?
Right, exactly. There's a little over 26 million people a month that come to Digg. And they come there and submit all different types of news, videos, images, you name it.
So if you go to Drudge, you see the news prioritized according to what he thinks is important.
Right.
If you go to Google News, you see the news prioritized according to what their computers think is important. If you go to Digg, you go and see the news prioritized according to what other web users think is important.
Right. It's the masses. Basically, everyone that comes to the site acts as an editor to the site. So, we have several million registered users that are out there looking for the latest news stories, the latest gems, and they come there to submit those stories.
You have a few favorite examples of stories that broke out via Digg?
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is that, with so many people all over the world submitting stories, we get all different types in. And, there was one time that stands out during the London train bombings. There was someone out there with a cell phone that went out and had taken a picture with their cellular telephone, uploaded it to their blog, and then submitted it to Digg. Now, it wasn't on any of the major media outlets at that point in time because this had just happened. This was minutes had passed. It was submitted to Digg, and then the users, much in the same way they can dig stories, they can also bury stories to have them removed. They were burying the story because they said, this is false, this is inaccurate. I'm pulling up the BBC or I'm pulling up, my CNNs of the world, and I don't see any stories about this. So it just went to show that Digg is very good because we have so many people out there acting as editors. We can break stories so fast and oftentimes faster than traditional media.
So this is a fundamental democratic small d on idea, but do you ever see it backfiring? Because the peer-to-peer echo chamber of the internet has also led to what's been most troubling about this election. The Reverend Wright clips over and over again, the bomb around McCain joke, this sort of piling on mentality and taking things out of context. Are you worried that your site is contributing to that?
Well, I think that, with any given site, you attract a certain demographic that comes to that site, and we have both sides on the site. So you'll see, pro and against stories come and hit the front page. We spend a lot of time developing our algorithms that promote these stories to the front page, and we also spend a lot of time looking for people that are trying to game the system. So if we have one type of group or organized attack against the system to remove certain stories that they want to censor, that's kind of where the bulk of our time is spent, making sure everything is fair and balanced.
There's actually been a little bit of controversy around your site. Some claims that people try to game the system and that 20% of the front page stories come from a small group of 20 people.
Well, it's definitely not 20%, but there are anytime you have a front page website where there's going to be 26 million people a month looking at, you are going to have people that attempt to game it without a doubt. I mean, we've never denied that. A lot of our time and energy is spent in working on systems to prevent gaming. I mean, it reminds me of kind of like the very early days of the search engines when you had people submitting, spam sites to Yahoo or to Google. It's an ongoing kind of arms race that we have to, embrace and just deal with.
Can we make a connection? Do you make a connection between the rise of Obama and the significance of sites like Digg, because he had this unbelievable online, network that he developed. I think that's one of the main reasons that he defeated Clinton ultimately, is that he out-organized her at the grassroots and at the net roots. But a lot of his popularity seems to come from this sort of peer-to-peer communication. Do you trace a line from one to the other?
Absolutely. I mean, when we take a look at, we launched something called Dig the Candidates, which would allow you to come in and say, okay, I dig this candidate, I dig this candidate. And Hillary was very late to sign on. We had this paperwork and forms that you need to fill out in order to make this happen. We actually had to launch the site without her being on there as a candidate. We added her a few days later when she finally got all the paperwork back. But Obama's campaign was very well organized, and took care of that stuff right away. And as you take a look at his website, he had integrations into everything from YouTube to Digg to even smaller social sites like Twitter, which allows you to send out small messages. So when he was on the campaign trail, he was sending out small messages to his supporters via his cell phone. So I mean, he was everywhere.